Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you join me here at the NCR Embassy. We're talking about jobs today. Just don't mind the dead military police on the floor. That was a whole weird situation that just happened when I was trying to record. But we do need to talk about jobs because the harsh reality of the world is that most of us need to work in some capacity to earn money in order to live. Having a job, a career, profession of some kind, and not all jobs are created equal, of course. Some of them are dangerous, difficult, stressful, demanding. For me personally, my veterinary career was emotionally demanding, physically demanding. I've done on-call nights. I've worked for 36 hours straight with maybe a half-hour nap at 6 in the morning. My first ever trip to the emergency department at the hospital was because I was bitten by a very large dog. I still bear the scars on my hands from that one, but all work is work and everybody deserves to be paid to do their job, and it's no different here in the Wasteland. So what we're talking about today is some of the ways that people can go about earning some caps in order to survive and build this new economy. I'm not covering medical related stuff today. That will be covered under the medical section of this guide. But obviously a lot of kind of employers and businesses have disappeared. There's, factories, and the means of kind of production for a lot of things is no longer available to a lot of places. A lot of skills and sort of manufacturing processes and things like that have been lost. A good example, Michelangelo here, we've talked about him before. He's set up his own sign making, neon sign and, sign design and business and things like that. But a lot of the means of production for various products has been lost. That's why there's not really many vehicles that are usable around. Most of them are rusty wrecks like that one there. There's not really much demand for office-based jobs outside the vaults and certain other places where, society has begun to re-establish itself a bit more. There is, but a lot of the other places that's not really a thing. People don't really need marketing, publishing and things like that to any degree compared to the pre-war world. There's no banks, there's no stock market, so there's no finance jobs around. There's no laws and a very ad hoc justice system where settlements take these matters into their own hands. So you don't really need lawyers, and education is not something that's readily available. I'd imagine most people are educated at home, or if they are raised by, the Brotherhood of Steel, the squires there or something like that, then they would be educated that way, but it's not something that's kind of readily available anymore. But people still need certain things. People still need food, need security, medical care, trade, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people can make a living by finding certain things and scavenging in the wasteland. So here we are at the Samson rock crushing plant, which is just to the kind of south of Vegas. So, this was obviously a big industrial location that functions to crush rocks and prepare building materials and that kind of a thing. And it's mostly been kind of left by the wayside. But you can still find useful things in some of these places, and that's what scavengers and prospectors do, is they go into these ruined locations, these ruined buildings and these ruined places, and see if they can find anything useful, which they might be able to do depending on where you look. If you go exploring in the wasteland, you're going to find ruins, you're going to find abandoned buildings, and you never know, you might find some kind of treasure inside them. So it's always worth a look. But being a prospector or a scavenger, whichever term you like to use, you can find things that people need and things that people are willing to pay for, but you also do have to take on the risks of this career path, because going into abandoned places, there could be anything from angry robots to aggressive wildlife to raiders, anything like that. So it is a job that's not exactly safe to do, because you never know what you're going to encounter. Like over there's a bunch of fiends. I have combat turned off to save any drama, but you know, you never know what you're going to stumble across when you're scavenging the ruins of the Wasteland. So, you know, it's not a simple, easy job that's just you're gonna go and make your fortune and everything's gonna be great, because you could walk into a Deathclaw nest and get eaten as well. So something to be aware of if that's a career path that you're interested in. Where are we? Basin Creek building. I have no idea what that is. I actually have no idea what this place is. Let's have a look while we're talking about things. So, another important thing that is really lacking is manufacturing. So, yep, we're here now at the Gunrunners, because they are one of the few groups of people that have managed to actually set up manufacturing. It's almost impossible in most places. So scavengers would be searching for things like weapons, ammunition, medicine, stuff like that. But you could also find yourself with a bit of competition if you're finding or looking for advanced technology. You might end up running into the Brotherhood of Steel, and we know that they don't like normal Wastelanders having access to advanced tech because they want to keep it all to themselves. But someone also has to kind of sort through it all and, you know, weed out the useful bits and make things into what they need to be. So another obviously very important thing that we've discussed before is food. Food is essential. People need food. Ideally, you should be getting food of some kind every single day. So we need ways of producing food. So that means farming, like here. So this is the NCR sharecropper farms. Where they are growing, I think it's called maize in this game, it's corn, maize, either way, but you know, they've got the fields here, they've got the greenhouses, so they're growing food to supply the NCR. You also need people that are going to go and hunt the wildlife, and the wildlife, I say if you've been watching my Science of Foliage series, you'll know that all the wildlife is really, really big, which means that, you know, you potentially get more food per creature killed than you would in the real world. So people that are willing to go out and hunt these animals and people that are willing to prepare them is potentially beneficial. You can scavenge some of the old pre-war preserved food like your sugar bombs and your Salisbury steaks and whatnot. I have to question the nutritional value of the Yum Yum deviled eggs that have been kept unrefrigerated for a couple of centuries, yet apparently are still safe to eat. But eventually all that old pre-war food is going to run out. So we have to be actively producing food of some description to preserve the future. You know, we want to be prepared for the future, because if we're trying to rebuild society, then having a renewable long-term solution to make sure that there's enough food for everybody is an important part of that. Yeah, here we need people that have mechanical skills and are able to learn mechanical skills. So, you know, like you've got reloading benches in this game so that you can, you know, manufacture your own ammo. If you're using robots and things like that, they're going to need maintenance. Any kind of machinery, somebody is going to have to fix it at some point, especially because most of it is scavenged from the old world, and therefore it's a couple of centuries old at this point, and you know, starting to corrode and rust and things like that. So, you know, having that technical know-how could be a very lucrative skill to have if you've got the knowledge and the ability to do that. That's something that would be in high demand potentially. In this game, of course, in Fallout 3, your weapons do have condition, your armour also has condition, so you need to be maintaining everything if you want it to keep working for you. So either you have to have that skill yourself, or you need to find somebody that's willing to do that for you for a reasonable fee. But even things like the water pump system in Megaton, where, if I remember rightly, the man's name's Walter. He'll ask you to fix a couple of leaks, and then he'll buy scrap metal from you so that he can maintain the water system and keep it working as much as possible for the town. So having people that are in the situation of doing that is a good thing to have. And then of course we look at the strip and it looks, you know, it looks pretty amazing considering that we're in a wasteland, but you know, we've got all the neon lights and everything, which is what you'd expect to see from Vegas. And clearly somebody has put in a lot of work to kind of get these casinos functioning, to get them set up and to get them looking nice, and making them look like they should be. And that was Mr. House's goal, and he's achieved that pretty well. There's obviously been a lot of work and investment put into making the strip what it is after the world has gone to hell. And on that same note, we need to talk about traders. Traders are very important for a number of reasons. Traders selling all kinds of goods: food, clothing, weapons, ammo, medicine, shipments of concrete, whatever you need. It's a very important thing, and pretty much every established settlement has some kind of vendor that set up shop, like Moira Brown and Megaton, Chet and Good Springs, and there's a whole bunch of them in Diamond City and Fallout 4, all over the place. And it ranges from small specialised shops to general stores where they're going to buy and sell just about anything that they want to. You do also have travelling caravans that feature in pretty much all the Fallout games, and that goes, we're talking from the hub to the Commonwealth. There's trading caravans and things. The gun runners, as we've looked at there, have been very successful because they can manufacture the weapons as well as repairing and trading them. And then in the NCR's territory, larger companies have emerged like the Crimson Caravan, which has been around for a long time. It does feature in the older Fallout games as well. And they've obviously expanded their operations here to New Vegas. And this is a big company. So they've got a number of traders. There's Blake, who is based here, but they have traders that go out with the caravans, and they also have their own herd of Brahmin, which is kind of an essential thing. If you're going to be a travelling trader in Fallout, you need a Brahmin to carry all your stuff. I mean, sure, the Crimson Caravan might be using the Van Graffs to eliminate their competition and keep the monopoly on trade caravans in this area, which, if you've done Cass's Personal Quest, you'll kind of know the details of that. But it stands to reason that, potentially travelling merchants that are willing to go out into the Wasteland and go to different settlements to trade, if they have to take protection with them or whatever, then it could be quite lucrative, because some places, certain resources might be more accessible, so they might have plenty of water, but they don't have a huge variety of food, so they need to trade for, what they've got for what they need, that kind of thing. And that's kind of how the barter economy works, and that's how the economy in Fallout works as well. So it's kind of an interesting one. And I say some places it's been more successful than others. Crimson Caravan has definitely done pretty well, because we can have a good look at Blake's stock here. He's got all sorts of things just lying around, which, if I was a bad person and he wasn't staring at me, I could steal it all. But they're organised. They've got a pen of Brahmin, they've got housing for everybody. They're pretty well set up, so they're obviously doing pretty well, even if that's because they're using some sneaky underhanded tactics as well. But that's, the nature of the Wasteland. Everything's all a bit to hell, so there we go. And then a couple more places to visit. So, welcome to the Lucky 38's Cocktail Lounge. So, right up at the top of the tower, we've got this pretty interestingly decorated cocktail lounge and bar. So, booze is a popular commodity, and certainly I think it's something that a lot of people find helps them cope with the, living in a radioactive wasteland. And just like the real world, there's always going to be demand for alcohol and for spaces to socialise with other people. And even during Prohibition in the US, when alcohol was illegal, people were, they were brewing their own, and they were having sneaky hidden speakeasies, as they were called, so hidden places where people could go and drink, and it was all very secret. So it's not really a surprise that in the post-war, people are setting up bars and their settlements and things as well. Moriarty's Saloon and Megaton. We've got the saloon, the Prospector Saloon in Good Springs. Every casino that's on the strip has a bar kind of facility in it as well. It's something that people are always going to set up and people are always going to want to have available to them, because, you know, humans, maybe not all humans, but a lot of humans need to be able to socialise with other humans. So they need a way to be able to do that, and having a bar set up is a good way for that to happen, and people are going to enjoy drinking alcohol, and there's nothing really wrong with that. It helps people cope with the horrors of living in this kind of world. And that's the reason that having a bar set up in your settlements in Fallout 4 makes people happier. So, you know, it's something that's... Once we're past the basic survival needs, people have social needs, people have needs for something that makes life a wee bit more worth living, and for a lot of people, going and having a drink is one of those things. And then obviously in Vegas, people have taken that a step further. Hey, have you been able to bug Mr. Can you shut up? Go away. I'm busy. Go away. You know, people have set up hotels, they've set up casinos with bars and restaurants. If you go to the tops, you've got your Rad Pack Song and Dance Review for entertainment. There's restaurants, although be careful if you go to the Ultralux, because sometimes the food is people. But, you know, you can drink, you can gamble, you can eat at a restaurant, which is a rare opportunity in the Wasteland. There's not really a lot of places that you can do that. And that's why Vegas has such an appeal, and especially for the NCR troopers when they're not on active duty. And clearly this person has had quite a bit to drink. And you've also got entertainment in the form of the oldest profession. So I'm here at Gomorrah now because that really ties into that. So prostitution, still an option for making some money. It is the oldest profession after all, and clearly there's still a market for it, and there's opportunities for all genders in this position, including, you know, ghouls as well. There are ghoul strippers in this place, which is fair enough if that's what floats your boat. Understandable. Hello. Yep.
You'll get these back on.
Sure thing, buddy. But yeah, so Gomorrah has kind of built itself on the kind of Sin City vibe, where people go to commit all their sins, which, you know, and again, it's one of these things. Sex work is real work, so there's no judgment. But, you know, working as a prostitute does have potential risks for people, because you do have issues with people abusing them, assaulting them, mistreatment from their employers, in inverted commas, and clients as well. Potential risk for, you know, STIs, STDs, that kind of a thing. But, you know, it's still a job, and it's the oldest profession in the book. There's obviously still a market for it, so it's absolutely fine that, you know, that's a job option for some people. Some people enjoy working in that capacity, and that's fair enough. Again, really, once we're past the basic survival needs...
Girl or guy, never
yeah.
drink your family.
Thank you. So there we go. I've got the option. Girls, guys, having a drink, whatever I want, because the Americans seem to like me for some reason. I can't remember how I solved the quest in this. But, you know, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine for people. People need to enjoy their life, especially when everything is terrifying. So finding things that make life just a wee bit more worth living is worthwhile, in my opinion. There are, of course, more dangerous jobs to discuss when we get into military things, security, and some of the less moral professions like slavers, stuff like that. So that'll come in the next video next week, because that's a bit more in depth. And then I say after that we're going to talk about Wasteland medicine and doctors and things like that, but I'll keep that as a separate video because it's quite a kind of complicated topic. But want to get into how people qualify as doctors when there isn't really any universities for people to train in. So we'll get into all that in a future video. But for now, here's some of the more kind of meeting basic human needs and making life a bit nicer and a bit more fun. Those kind of jobs, but we'll have to get into some of the more serious jobs, and we'll do that next week. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching. As always, I love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Just keep everything respectful, and we'll have a good time. But any thoughts, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.